Hey guys, bait casting reels. They're some of the best reels out there on the market, but they can be a pain in the butt when you're first getting started. Today, we're going over Baitcaster Basics and how to set up your reel so that you don't get those nasty bird's nests. Stick with us. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Nathan Hance with Enhanced Fishing, and like I said, today we are talking about Baitcaster Basics and learning how to cast your baitcaster without getting those nasty bird's nests. So I'm going to tell you guys right here up front, some of the things you're going to learn in this video. You're going to get some basic nomenclature on a bait casting reel. You're going to learn about the magnetic brakes, the spool tension, and the drag a little bit. I will be making a second video with out in the field once the rain stops with exactly how to cast it, how to work it. We'll talk about a little bit about that today, but then what to do when you do get those bird's nests. Because I'll tell you right now, what I'm going to show you guys is going to help immensely. It's going to help you be able to cast your bait caster if you're just starting out, or if you've been using it for a while and you get a bird's nest every time you cast. This is going to help you out. This is going to help you get to that point where it's a lot easier to make those casts. You're not getting those bird's nests as often. I'm not a professional by any stretch of the means, but I love using bait casters. Guess what? I still get bird's nests. Everybody does. I don't know anyone who doesn't. What I'll do in that second video is I'm going to show you guys what to do when you do get those bird's nests instead of just grabbing your rod and reel and throwing it in the water, because I think we've all been there and wanted to do that at some point. So we're going to start out. The two reels I've got sitting in front of me are the ones we're going to go over today. They're both Lew's reels. One is the Lew's, it's the Mock Crush, and then the second one I've got sitting in front of me is the Lew's Xfinity. I use Lew's reels. That's what I use. I love Lew's reels. They've been great for me ever since I've started using them, and I just absolutely love them. So I'm going to be showing you guys all the settings and everything on these two reels. I will tell you this, every other bait caster I've used, seen, looked at has very similar setup. They're very similar. They're all made pretty much the same. The biggest difference I've seen sometimes, and we'll talk about it when I give you some close-ups, is the magnetic brakes are sometimes on the inside instead of on the outside. And when I get a reel that has the magnetic brakes on the inside like that, I'll make a follow-up video with how to do those as well. But for starting out, a lot of your baitcaster reels are going to be just like the ones that I've got sitting here in front of me, a lot of the same settings. So let's jump into this. I'm going to give you guys some close-ups and we'll talk about what we're doing here. So stick with us. Everybody, so like I said, we're going to start out, we're going to be talking about both these reels. We've got the Mock Crush right here, and then we've got the Lew's Xfinity right here. We're going to go over these together. I'm going to point some things out to you guys. And we're going to start by talking about nomenclature of the reel. So this here, this whole thing sitting on my rod, and this here, these are the reels themselves. The completed product, everything together makes the reel. So as we go through, obviously this here is the handle. So you turn this and you're going to reel in your line. Your line's going to come in. You've got your handle here. As we move along, I'm going to flip this reel on its side. You can see this star here. That's your drag. So that's your drag setting. I'll turn it back and you can look at it. It's the same thing. It's orange on this one, so it's actually a little easier to see. But that's your drag setting there. So that is how you loosen up, tighten up. You can adjust your drag just like you would if you were using a spinning setup. You can adjust your drag. I didn't know that for a long time when I was using bait casting reels. I didn't know that it had a drag that you could adjust. So these are things that I've learned throughout my time using reels, and I've come to learn these things and figured I would share them with everybody in this video. So as we continue going through the nomenclature, again, just basic nomenclature. I'm not going to rip this reel completely apart, but this little knob right here, you can twist it back and forth. Same thing, it's right here on this reel, right there. It's black, it's a little harder to see. That is your spool tension knob. So you adjust that for the tension on your spool. And that's a very important piece of this. And we're going to talk about that here in a little more depth in just a second. So as we turn the reels up, as we turn them up here, so you can see right here, you've got a little knob with numbers. And then right here, you've got a little knob, and I don't know if you guys can read that or not, but it says free or max. It doesn't have numbers. So when you look at those, that is your brake settings. I'm gonna turn this back on its side so it doesn't fall over while I'm recording this. And I'll show you on this one, but this is your brake setting. So you can go, I've got it set at about 5 right now on this one. You can set it to no brakes at minimum, or you can set it to maximum, which I think on this one is 10 or 12. So as you go through these settings, these are important things to know, because this is how you're going to set up your reel to use it. So this button, this is your release button here. You press it, it releases your reel. So that's kind of basic nomenclature. You got your handle, you've got your your drag right here. I'm sorry, totally, my mind just shut off on me for a minute. You've got your spool tension knob, you've got your release button, and then you've got your magnetic brakes here on the side. So what I'm going to do is with both these reels, I've got these set up. So when I first get a reel, I take it out of the box, I look at it, I drool over it a little bit, and I toss it on a rod. I toss some light on it, whatever I've got. Right now I've got fluorocarbon on both these. I was fishing a clear lake and I went back to using fluorocarbon. And fluorocarbon's not my favorite. I think the braid to fluoro leader is actually my new favorite setup ever since I started using it. So I may go back to that on these as well. But so when I get a reel, I take it out, I set it up, I get some line on it, and then I toss on a lure. I don't care what type of lure. It can be a jig, it can be a spinnerbait, it can be a crankbait, just something. Right now I've got a jig and I've got a spinnerbait on, both from Torrent Lure Company. But so then what I do is I start to let that bait drop. And I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to stand up here in a minute and show you guys what I mean. But I let the bait drop and see how fast it drops. How fast is it going? Then what I do is I like to turn my magnetic brakes here. Turn this up. I turn them all the way down to minimum so that there's no magnetic brakes on. So I turn that on, and then I use my tension knob here and I adjust this. So if the bait is falling super fast, I can tighten this all the way down and make it to where the bait stops, which I'll show you guys again, like I said, in just a second. Then I can loosen this up. As I loosen this knob, it'll let the bait start to fall. I get it to where the bait is falling at a rate that I want it to fall. At that point, I can come over and I can adjust my magnetic brakes. I can maybe let the bait fall a little faster than I want it to, adjust my magnetic brakes, see how it works there. So this is how I set it up. Everybody does it a little different, but if you understand how these work, what this does and how these settings work, it's going to help you out a lot. So the other thing you can do is you can turn your magnetic brakes all the way up and do the same thing. Tighten this all the way down and then loosen it up. So if you've got both of these tightened all the way down, guess what? You're going to be able to cast, and you're really not going to be able, or not going to have much backlash, because it's not going to be a major issue when you're casting it out there and it's hitting the water, because it's all going, it's slowing it down for you. The tensioner spool is slowing down your spool. Your magnetic brakes are slowing everything down. The problem with that is you're not going to get the same distance on your cast. But for starting out, that's okay as you're learning to do it. So the other thing you have to use your thumb. You don't have to. You can tighten everything down, like I just said. You can throw it out there. You're not going to throw it very far, and you don't have to use your thumb. But as you're learning to use this, you want to use your thumb. As I learned to use a Baitcaster, I was okay with getting the bird's nest because I would use my thumb, and I wanted to learn to use my thumb. I'm still getting better at it. Like I said, no expert by any means, but I am getting better and I am improving. So now that you guys have seen the nomenclature, seen the reels, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to show you guys what I do, what I'm talking about when I set these up for the first time. So hang tight. Let me get this set up and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. All right, everybody, so like I said, I want to stand up and I want to show you. So I'm standing here in my kitchen. Like I said, it's pouring rain outside. I can only show you so much. You can't see the tip of the rod, but I'll drop this down, get it into the camera shot there. You can see I got the jig tight on this one. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about and how I adjust this. So that jig was dropping really slow. So what I'm going to do is I've got the brakes on this. Like I said, as I showed you guys on the close-up, I've got the magnetic brakes turned down to minimum on this. And I'm just going to loosen this up for right now. I'm going to loosen this way up. I'm going to drop this bait down in. And look at how fast this bait drops down in. Okay? It's a fast-moving bait. I'm just going to let it go all the way to the floor. There it goes. So I've got my brake set at minimum. I've got my spool tension knob super loose. So I'm going to start by, I'm going to tighten this spool tension knob all the way up as tight as I can get it. Okay. So if you guys look, I'm going to adjust the reel here, or the picture here. This bait is not dropping at all. That's me moving the tip of the rod, not moving the, but the bail is open right now. I've hit the release button and this bait isn't moving. Like I really have to work it to get it to move. So my magnetic brakes are on minimum. This is tightened all the way down. So when I like to set it up, this is how I start. I tighten that all the way down with the brakes, and then I just slowly start to loosen it up. I loosen up this spool tension knob until I start to get a drop. Still waiting, and there we go. So, and now it starts dropping, and it's dropping a little quicker than I want it to. I'm controlling it with my thumb over here as well. So, let me reel it back up. I'm going to tighten it a couple clicks. And there it goes. So I try to find that perfect drop that I like to have, about like that. It's a steady drop. I don't have to have too much thumb input, and it's not going super fast. So if I let this go and hit the table, when that hits the table, the spool stops. The spool is not still spinning. That's where you get your bird's nest. This is still open. The spool stopped when it hit the table. So that's normally where you'll get your bird's nest. You have this super loose, you cast it out, just boom, it hits the water, and all of a sudden your spool's still spinning and you get your backlash. So that's how I like to set them up. Then what I'll do, like I said, might make it drop a little bit faster. So we'll tighten this up, we'll loosen this just a smidge, let it fall a little faster than I want, and then I'll adjust my brakes. I generally set my brakes at around 5 for my magnetics. That's just what I've found. I've been most successful with my reels when I have it set at about 5. So that's how I like to set up what I like to do with my reels as soon as I get them out. The thing is with this, guys, is this is a different bait, this is a different reel, okay? There you go, you've got a bait in your picture, right? So I've got it set up the same way. I've got it set, this one doesn't have numbers. Like I said, it's got a free and it's got a max on there, but I've got it set at about midway. I've got it set around that 5 setting. I've got this set up, but I'm fishing the spinner bait on this rod and this reel. And this is a different weight. This is a different weight than the jig that I'm fishing. Every time you tie something on, you might need to adjust a little bit. You might need to take it, let it drop, find that drop that you like, and have it set up. So that's what I do. That's how I set these up. I'm gonna pull my chair real quick. Sorry about the noise. That's how I take the time. That's how I set it up. So like I said, I'm gonna make a second part to this video on exactly what I do when I'm casting. I'll show you guys a little bit more about changing out the baits and stuff and show you what I mean of how you can adjust the settings real quick. But this is a quick, simple, easy way to set up your bait casting reel, especially if you're new to it. You want to know about those things. You want to know about the magnetic brakes. You want to know about that spool tension knob. Okay? Just adjust those, guys. Start with tightening them down, tie your bait on, and adjust to where you want. Then try casting. I bet you're going to have a much easier time casting. So one thing I need to do, I've got a hat full of names here because I had a 200 subscriber giveaway. I haven't drawn a name on that, and it's time to do that. So whoever's name gets drawn out of this hat, the winner is going to be getting a couple baits from Torrent Lure Company. Guys, if you haven't checked out Torrent Lure Company, if you haven't checked out my video on them, jump below, check out the video, or go to their Facebook page and check it out. I'll also put a link to it up here in the corner. So I've got these all cut up in here. Oh, they're falling out of the hat. So I'm gonna reach in here, I'm gonna pull one out. Let's see. And we've got a name. Michael S. So there's only one Michael S. I'll look on the comments on that video. I will let Michael S. know who in the comments that he's the winner, and I will get with him on getting this. So Michael S., you are the winner of the 200 subscriber giveaway. Guys, I'll be doing another giveaway at 300 subscribers, and I'll tell you right now, I've got a huge giveaway plan for my 500 subscriber. If you guys like mystery tackle boxes, whether it's the Monster Box, the mystery tackle box itself, or one of the other companies, I'm going to be putting together a mystery tackle box of my own using several lures from Torrent Lure Company, 10-8 custom baits, as well as hopefully some other companies that I would like to get in there. And some lucky winner is going to get an awesome prize pack. So keep inviting your friends, share this video, hit the like button, hit subscribe, drop me a comment, let me know what you think. Let me know if this is helpful. Let me know what other types of videos you want to see. Guys, I hope this enhanced your fishing experience. Get out there, tight lines, and catch a big one.